I am genuinely excited about the One More Sonos Flow because I can't wait to see what consumers make of them. The reason behind this is because they offer the LDAC codec, have got Bluetooth and also active noise cancellation, all at an affordable price point, $100 in the US and £90 in the UK. In this review I'll be comparing it to some of its rivals and giving you my own subjective opinion about these headphones. So jumping straight in, let's talk about connectivity. Now out the box, these headphones will only support the SBC and AAC codecs, which will certainly suffice for iPhone users. If however you have a device such as an Android phone, such as my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, then you'll be able to benefit from the LDAC codec. This is enabled through the app, so it definitely needs to be done beforehand, and then you have the LDAC codec to your disposal. The LDAC codec effectively gives you a higher quality transmission over Bluetooth, therefore giving you less degradation over wireless transmission. As such, means that your audio will sound much better over LDAC when compared to AAC or SBC. Now better still, One More have included Bluetooth multipoint, which means that you can simultaneously pair to two different devices. And in my case, I was able to note that LDAC was running on both phones, and therefore means that you are able to run the highest quality transmission on two separate devices simultaneously, and that to me is seriously impressive. Now I will note however, while using Bluetooth multipoint and therefore on two separate devices, I did notice a little bit of skipping and jolting sometimes, but it was somewhat intermittent. It didn't throw me off too much, but it's just something worth noting, and if you look at through the app you'll actually see that it's an experimental feature as such. Now aside from this, I had no sort of lip sync delays or video lag when I was paired up to a singular phone, and in this respect the LDAC codec is seriously impressive in this department and will be very much appreciated for a lot of people who are using these headphones via Bluetooth connection. Now I would like to point out that over a Bluetooth connection these headphones can't be simultaneously charged. If however you do run out of juice, you will be able to run these over an auxiliary jack. In other words, there's a 2.5mm input to the headphones, and then they're terminated by a straight gold-plated 3.5mm jack. Now on the flip side of this however, is that when you're using them over an auxiliary connection, the headphones power down, and as a result means that you've got no active noise cancellation, and there is no means of powering on the headphones while they're connected over their auxiliary connection. Now this will be a bit of a concern for those people who want to take them on flights, because if you're going to be using them on the plane, you're probably going to be plugged in via an auxiliary connection, at least if you're, let's say, watching some movies on a long haul flight, and there you will not be able to benefit from the active noise cancellation technology. The only way to counteract this is for you to get an adapter, for example, that connects over Bluetooth, and therefore means that you'll still be able to benefit from active noise cancellation because the headphones will be running over a Bluetooth connection rather than an auxiliary connection. So moving swiftly on, I would like to point out that when you do use these headphones over an auxiliary connection, they will sound a little bit more boomy, and as a result I actually prefer doing my listening tests over Bluetooth and while using the LDAC codec. Now over the Bluetooth connection here you do have ability to enable or disable active noise cancellation, and yes, it does alter the sound very slightly. In other words, does push back the mid-range a little bit, but it's not too pronounced to the point that it's really much or a night and day difference. As such, my sound quality assessments were done with Bluetooth, LDAC codec, and also with active noise cancellation enabled. Now with that in mind, I should point out that these headphones can be personalized to a certain degree. Via the One More app you have got 10 preset EQs to choose from, and while I listen to R&B and hip hop music for the vast majority of time, I actually found that the pop EQ worked out the best because it didn't seem to drown out the mids nor overly accentuate the mid bass or the highs. Still, you can play around with the different EQs and see what actually works out best for you. So how do these headphones sound? Well, I was actually left really impressed across the frequency range. Let me break it down. First off, in terms of the sub-bass tones, the One More headphones give you a good amount of rumble and extension. And yes, they will cut off and won't sound as well pronounced in the sub-bass tones in comparison to more expensive headphones, but for headphones at this price point, the One More headphones are very impressive. Similarly, the same could be said about the mid-bass presence. You have got a good amount of quality and quantity, again, in comparison to similarly priced headphones. They won't quite compete in terms of the quality in comparison to more expensive headphones out there on the market, but again, putting into perspective, the One More Sonoflows are very impressive. Now, what really took me by surprise was the overall mid-range clarity. So much so that I think these headphones are far out-punching headphones that cost almost double or sometimes triple the price. And I'm not really exaggerating over here. I would say they compete somewhat with the likes of even the Sennheiser Momentum 4 Wireless, which is very high praise coming from me. They completely beat and trounce the likes of the Sony flagship headphones and also are superior than my Bose NC700s. The mid-range clarity is really all that impressive, and I was actually left jaw-dropped when listening back to them. I was not expecting a set of sub $100 or £100 headphones to really be outperforming more expensive headphones in the mid-range department. Suffice to say over here, in comparison to its near-price competitors, it is absolutely stonkingly better. Let alone that, you've got good high-end clarity, and therefore the highs give you that sort of toe-tapping feeling, and they're not overly sibilant or harsh either, at least not on the pop EQ. If you go on more of the treble boosted EQs, then yes, it will sound a little bit harsh and maybe be a bit more fatiguing to your ears, but it really depends in terms of your own frequency range. What I'm trying to say over here is across the frequency range, I was left seriously impressed. Now, as for the soundstage, the One More Sonoflow won't compete with more expensive headphones out there on the market. However, when it comes to the overall instrument separation and the width and depth in comparison to similarly priced alternatives, it's actually pretty good. I would pick it over the likes of the Lindy BNX60, BNX80 or BNX100, and they're pretty much on par with the slightly more expensive Razer Opus. However, they can't compete with the likes of the Philips PH805 or 905. I keep getting confused with the model name, but anyway, the Philips headphones sound a little bit more open and therefore give you a little bit more of that sort of airy sort of sound.
So what about when it comes to recording quality? Well, everything you can hear right now is coming directly from the One More headphones. And what I'll say subjectively, having done my own test before, is that the actual recording quality is not too bad. It's actually pretty impressive for a set of budget ANC headphones. Now, what actually took me by surprise more than anything is how the headphones were able to deal with environmental sound. Now, in a controlled manner, I'm going to be turning towards my bookshelf speakers and playing one of my friend's tracks. It's Priya J, Like Me, and it's playing through my bookshelf speakers at a relatively loud volume, and you can hear it a little bit in the background. But when I go quiet, hopefully you're there able to hear how the headphones are able to cope with some music in the background. And here, in this respect, I'm just left very impressed because a lot of headphones that I have reviewed actually really struggle in this department. In other words, they play back a lot of the ambient sound, or for example, Priya J's vocals will be coming out a lot more to the foreground, and the One More headphones, specifically given their price point, are extremely impressive. Now, just to put it into perspective, here are the Bose NC700s, which I often use as a reference when it comes to Bluetooth ANC headphones. And here you'll be hopefully able to agree with me that the One More headphones actually do pretty well, to say the least, when it comes to raw recording quality. But yet again, when it comes to comparing the two headphones, I like to see it in the real world environment. Right now I'm playing Priya J's tracks yet again through my bookshelf speakers, and you can see how the One More actually still do compete like for like with the Bose headphones, including when I go quiet. So yes, in technicality point of view, when it comes to taking calls, the Bose NC700 still reigns supreme when it comes to cancelling out environmental sound, but the One More headphones are not too far behind, and given their price point, again, I can't stress it enough, I'm extremely impressed.
So moving on, we get on to active noise cancellation, and here I was left pretty impressed on the whole, specifically in comparison to similarly priced alternatives. See, I would pick the One More Sonoflow when it comes to active noise cancellation over the likes of the Philips PH805 or the likes of the Lindy BNX60, BNX80 or BNX100. However, if I was purely interested in active noise cancellation, the Razer Opus would be a little bit better than what One More are able to produce. Now again, putting into perspective, if you're comparing it to flagship headphones out there with active noise cancellation, the One More headphones cannot compete with the likes of the Bose NC700, the Sennheiser Momentum for wireless, or even the likes of, let's say, Sony's offerings or Neurophone. Now, of course, these headphones are far more expensive, so you'd expect better active noise cancellation, and indeed that is the case. Now, if you are going to be using active noise cancellation, you should bear in mind that it will impact battery. In other words, you'll get 50 hours of playback with active noise cancellation enabled, and if you were to disable it, you'll get up to 70 hours, of course, while connected over Bluetooth, because ANC is not supported over an auxiliary connection, as I mentioned before. Now, if you do run out of juice, you can plug them in via the USB Type-C port, which is great to see over micro USB, and means that you can attain 5 hours of playback in just 5 minutes of charging. If you want to charge them from empty to full, it'll take roughly 80 minutes, which isn't too bad for a 720 milliamp battery. Now, aside from this, the headphones themselves are very comfortable to wear. They weigh roughly 250 grams and they've got very soft ear pads and a top part of the headband. I had no problems whatsoever while wearing them in and around the house or while going on a jog. I felt that the clamp force was perfect and also meant that I was able to wear reading glasses or sunglasses without any sort of discomfort either. The same could be said about some of its competitors, which have got a stronger clamp force and therefore means that when you're wearing glasses it will become uncomfortable and or feel a bit sweaty over longer listening sessions. Better still, these headphones have got the ability to be folded inwards and outwards, and therefore when it comes to portability you can easily place them in a bag. But if you do want to protect them from, let's say, liquids or anything else, then One More include a very stylish and practical hardshell carrying case. Here it's a little counterintuitive to use at first, but when you get your head around it, then it becomes second nature. Also here you'll find a small little mesh compartment allowing you to stow away your cables. So with all of that in mind, it brings me on to my verdict, and frankly I can't think of a better alternative. A set of Bluetooth active noise cancellation headphones that also have the LDAC codec, therefore giving them good sound quality and also good recording quality, and better still, on top of that you have got a good build quality and design, comfort and customization through the app, albeit the latter is a little bit limited. Combining all of these features, then putting it at a price point of £90 in the UK and $100 in the US, well, I just really am absolutely mind blown, and as a result it actually gets my Best Buy award, not something that I would easily dish out to a set of headphones or any sort of audio related device. Now I'd be intrigued to hear your thoughts of the One More Sonos Flow down in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree, or do you think there are better alternatives out there on the market? Now if you've liked this independent detailed review, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing and hitting that bell notification, all of which are greatly appreciated and allows me to continue delivering honest reviews like this one. As such, I've been Totally Dubbed and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.